Hello, hello, everyone. Once more with you, wonderful guests. And again, such a nice topic we're going to handle today. It's a topic on gender based violence and how it happens, especially among immigrants in Norway. And something that is funny is like the system in Norway works and functions very well, but gender based violence still finds its roots in the system. So that is why today I bring to you these wonderful ladies, that is Susan and Magdalena, to help us handle this case. Before we go on, I will invite our new guest, which is Susan today, to just introduce herself and tell us a little bit more about what she works with. Thank you. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you so much. My name is Susan. I come from Kenya. I have been in Norway for 9 years now.
Mhm.
And professionally, I'm a trained and ordained pastor with the Methodist Church in Kenya. And I
Mhm.
also work here in Norway as a volunteer in the church and also work closely with an organization with African women in Norway. It's called
Mhm.
Power. I'm working with coordinating the migrants and trying to mobilize them for seminars and workshops.
Mhm.
And basically, I love and I have a lot of passion on women rights. This is what I studied here in Norway. I have masters in women rights and empowering women. I've
Mhm.
also done this domestic violence and abuse in one of the masters that I took because I have to. So I'm really happy to be here today and actually to make this wonderful discussion, a
Mhm.
topic that I love so much because I think I love being a feminist and I love promoting women and girls' rights. Thank you so much, Beatrice, for your invitation. Thank you so
Th-
much.
Welcome. And I forgot to say, Susan is actually representing Power, which is also one wonderful organization that deals with the women rights and yeah. Magdalena, can you just say hi once more? We have you on the ground.
Yeah, thank you very much, Beatrice. I think my viewers they know me very well because I've been handling so many of such programs, and now we are in an area which it is very very interesting to me, especially as an activist, especially if for women and children. So
Thank
gender-based violence. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
We'll just go directly to the questions. And I know Magdalena had already introduced the topic. Mostly today, we're going to bring a little bit of elucidating a little bit on what gender based violence versus COVID-19, and then more of like solutions. What can we do about the situation and how people can be helped? So the first question, I'll shoot it to Susan, and then it goes like, what is gender-based violence according to your understanding, Susan?
Yeah, thank you so much, Beatrice. Once again,
Mm.
I would like to explain what actually gender-based violence is. According to my understanding, I think gender-based violence is rooted in the gender inequalities,
Mhm.
and which is actually a human rights violation. And in this case, it is a violence in which in this case, it's directed against a person because of their gender preferences.
Mhm.
If one is a man or a woman. So that's why we talk about gender-based violence. It can happen both between either to a man or a woman. But in this case, it happens
Mhm.
a lot within women and girls.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That brings us to the next question. And Mado, if you have anything to add on that, I know you had already introduced the topic, but if you add something to add, it would be nice. The forms and types of gender based violence. Thank you,
Mm.
Mado.
Yeah, thank you very much, Beatrice. With this topic, it is somehow very
Mm,
intriguing and sensitive at the same time because there are three things which we look at the forms of the gender-based violence. It mostly comes like violence against women and children, or women and girls, like what Susan said. And then violence with intimate partner. I'll explain that later. I'm just trying to give shallowly. And then domestic violence. And then another form of violence comes with there's a structural violence, which a well-planned violence. But then we also have the types of violence with the gender-based violence, which comes with the rape, sexual assault, denial of resources or opportunities. It doesn't matter whether it is from the man or from the woman. That's why we are talking about gender-based. And also, another type, it comes from emotional abuse. Emotional abuse, and some I've talked of denial of resources and opportunities or services psychologically. So I think when I want to also look at these forms of violence, I capitalize mostly with this one, with violence against women and girls. Why?
Yeah.
Because let's say, for example, there is war. Because I'm a conflict analyst. There is war. Mostly women, which I will say women, girls, are the most vulnerable group. And people take advantage of them during those periods of conflict or wars. And let's say if those who are having wars, they want to relax a bit, or out of vengeance, maybe with what they are so angry of during that war, they exercise it through the woman. He maybe try to rape her or forcefully sleep with that person. Sometimes it is not only about using a gun to shoot, that those at the war front, they want to demonstrate. Sometimes they demonstrate their anger or trying to win others by raping these, to violate these women or the children. Some, they don't even care whether the child is even a baby. So those violence, most of the times we see them in the war fronts. Yeah. During restitutions or some other things, or ceasefire, people report back how they were violated, they were harassed, they were raped, they were killed, and all those things. Those are they look mostly for the women. Why? Another thing too is because the women, they don't go to war. They don't go to war, and mostly it is their husband or their brothers that must have gone to war, and they are the ones at home. So if the opponents on the other side, they come, they meet anybody there, the only thing to revenge is to violate them. Not only raping them, even sometimes you kill them. They meet mostly these women and these girls, then they kill them. So I think I'll give chance if anybody have anything again to add, because I'll say this later on. Another type of violence, I've said it is rape, sexual assault, physical assault, which I just said here also, and forced marriages, and I've said denial of resources. Forced marriages will happen with this violence happen mostly when you are still you don't like this person. It's not only about liking that person. Sometimes the person that you want to marry is older than you, or it has been like us, because here we are talking about immigrants, like us with the tradition in where I come from. If a woman, your husband is dead, your husband's brother got right to get married to you again. So that's total violence for that woman.
Yeah.
Because they force this person to marry. I'm talking, it's not like underage, but another type of forced marriages comes to with underage. That person is not up to that age, and then you allow this child. Some children are just 8 years, some 10 years. They have started taking money for or dowry, what we call dowry back home as immigrants. So this
Thank
basically happened. Yeah, it
Thank you
happened
so much.
to us.
Thank you so much for the. I know you're gonna pick it from the next one, because that it's actually you're gonna do more of it also in the next one. But thank you for the highlights and clarification of how culture also comes in and how it plays a role in the gender-based violence. So as we go to the next one, I know it will come actually feature a little bit inside there. Gender-based violence, does it exist in Norway, and especially amongst immigrants? You understand? We know this society, it has a functional system. How does gender-based violence among immigrants finds its roots in Norway? And I know it happens with even native Norwegians, but first we start with the immigrants. And I would request Susan to take us through this. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Beatrice, and also Magdalene, and also our viewers tonight. I want to mention that, as you have said, that Norway has a very well structured system which protects women and girls and everyone. But actually, due to what I may say is that most of the migrants that are in Norway, they come in Norway with them, carrying with them many cultures, a lot of practices, beliefs, which they practice while they are in Norway. For example, the cultural beliefs and practices, which talks about maybe the battering of women. There are some men that, African women, for example, that batter women. And there's nothing wrong with slapping or pinching or maybe doing a little bit of, which is actually violence. And of course, when it comes to the issue of child upbringing, we have the issue of correcting and punishing a child, although it's not like capital punishment. It's like you are correcting the behavior, and it's like it's just fine. But in Norway, you realize that this is illegal. It is illegal actually to punish a child, to punish a woman, to pinch, to slap, and to batter. So that's why we find a lot of problems, especially we migrants who are living in Norway. We need to adapt the system and know the do's and the don'ts of the society and the rule of the game. So basically what I can say is that violence, and especially gender-based violence or domestic violence that happens within families or within people who are in a close relationship, sometimes they may not be reported. They may not be documented, especially among the immigrants, because they understand the repercussions. But again, they are challenged with the culture that they carry with them. So I think that's why domestic violence and gender-based violence find its way among the immigrants in Norway, despite the fact that they are well-structured ways of protecting everyone here. That's what I can say. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So Magdalena,
and in
it's
this case also the children, and in this case also the children for victims, everyone in the family and in the surrounding environment, because of the cultures I have already said. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I want to contribute a bit.
Yeah.
The gender-based violence, how did it find its roots to Norway? they call you, they are acculturated. So which means your culture, you carry it from where you were before, and then you bring it here. And sometimes, even though these people, they are born here, they were raised up with that same culture, with the parents around, and it stays with them. Back home in there's a particular tribe in my country. They call them the Ewondos and things like that. They used to say when marriage is sweet, when there is a little beating that comes from the man. You see a kind of culture that finds its way, and in a society like Norway, where it's a shock to them to see beating to become romantic.
Yeah.
You know, they see it as violence, they see it as abuse. But if we want to call it that, it is a shock or violence, the people don't see it as violence. But that is why I'll say some of this culture, they had to follow their roots and enter this country and become a new normal to them. That is why some women, even they have this violence at home, they stay quiet. They don't say it because
they think it's normal.
They have turned that to be a kind of new normal, and it's a cultural thing to see that during the period that your man slaps you and does what and comes again and then will be begging you, and to them it is romantic. And they maybe buy you some gifts and things like that. And to some people, they see it like, what is all this? It is just like someone like myself. My dad is educated, and then my mom was not educated. And then I'm asking my dad, how did it come that you are up to a master's level, and then your wife doesn't know anything, and then got you children, like 9 children? How come? How did you do that? Guess what? The person that was embarrassing me and scaring me, leave my husband alone. You wanted that man to do what? He has been struggling with you people. Leave him alone. You wanted him again to send me to school for what? I thought we are on the same side because I was fighting for her. So you see, it's a cultural thing which they enjoy it the way it is, until when those that it is not their culture, it's a culture shock to them. That's why it found its roots in Norway. And then they saw it now as an abuse or violence. So I think that's what I can contribute.
Thank you. I think I would say maybe 2-3 things as well as we go to the next question. Just the way you guys have said, it's pretty much correct, because we carry what we have from our culture and we bring it in Norway. And unless someone maybe reports it in the system, it will just be continuing in the house. We've been having all these seminars whereby, and I know we bring these people from crisis center that I know one of you guys will be talking about. And I think one thing that really caught my eyes is like there's some people in Norway, as much as their spouses, this is not only a girl, even a man, their spouses brought them here. They're not allowed something like to have a bank card, they're not allowed to work. They're not allowed to move and mingle. They're not allowed to integrate, So you are brought in Norway, you are closed under a roof, and you're meant just to be inside there. You're supposed just to be making, bringing in families and babies, and that is the only expectation they have. It's pretty sad, but it happens. And some cultures, it's like, you're not even allowed to learn the language. This is the minimal that you can get. You find like someone has stayed in Norway for several years, they can't even communicate. So this is some also form of gender-based violence, because if your wife brought you here, or if your husband brought you here as the first person who landed in Norway, they already know, like, you can't go to the shops without speaking this language, even if
Yeah.
it's, you feel like it's not necessary, but for the sake of, you know, coming close to people, you really need to have a master of language, and also just
Yeah.
socialize
Wow.
and have network. Yeah. So that is also another form of gender-based violence, and it's
Yeah.
really existing as much as the system is functional. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you. We'll be going to the next one, and this one will be going to Magdalene. And
Yes.
Susan, you can just contribute a little bit. What should one
Yeah.
do if they're faced with gender-based violence? I know I've talked of this, also this one, two, three that is existing at homes, and they are kind of hidden, you know. But what should one do when such things happens? Thank you,
Yeah.
Magdalene.
Thank you
Mm,
very much, Beatrice.
mm,
You just talked about something very, very pertinent, because
mm,
to add to what you said,
mm,
how are you going to do when you are being locked up? And
mhm,
it goes back to that same statement that you said. Educate yourself
Mm-hmm.
about the gender-based violence.
mm,
Because why? They are refusing that you should not and know the language or visit people. It is that's what you can do. There are three basic things. You
mm,
educate yourself, which
Mm-hmm.
goes to those that they have refused them not to learn. Then the second category of people that
mm,
they should do, you use your voice in social media, like what we are doing
Mm-hmm.
now, creating
yeah.
awareness. You
Mm-hmm.
use your voice, you talk out. It
Mm,
may be in some workshops or seminars or whatever, where you have opportunity. And if
mhm,
you are not educated, you will not even reach the second level, which I want to bring, which is
Mm-hmm.
now you go now to the social media. Now, it, we are women, right? Then now we are able to talk in the social media.
mm,
It is cutting across so many people. Even those that they will not be watching now, they will watch later, and the video
Mm-hmm.
remains there.
yeah.
That's the only way which you can fight on
Mm,
gender-based violence. Your voice should be
Mm-hmm.
heard. And then
Yeah.
another third category, it is
mm,
also for you to sponsor a survivor of
mhm,
conflict or war or whatever. If you see, make that person to be a facilitator, say their
mm,
story, be able to stand up and talk, because people like to relate things with experience. If
Mm-hmm.
mm,
somebody must have been violated or physically abused or whatever, if the person is bold enough, because that is their choice, you can sponsor them.
mm,
Like I was supposed to go to Canada for one seminar as a mediator on peace, as a peacemaker mediator. So
mm,
imagine those kind of people, they are sponsoring
mm,
somebody to come over and then say their story, their experiences, on how it may be they have had it one time or the other, coming from home. It can come sometime
mm,
from home, from parents, or from a relationship. You say it concretely. So
mm,
your voice is being heard. You have sponsored that person. That person now will make others to be aware, and then people will know that, because there are some people who don't even know that or believe that it exists. They are just thinking that women or the man is just faking it, or it happens every day at home. It is going to be so shocking for someone to know that no way, which is full of human rights, and we are still having cases coming up of this abuse and violence happening around us.
mm,
And that's why they have institutions like the Chris Center, which you people have said, and you also have the Banner Van or whatever. Those institutions are there to help situations which are happening for real. It's not like people would like to put institutions on things which I'll say it is not happening. It's because those things are there, but people shy away. But then those institutions, if they can come in another way, they will be able to reach them. And when you have this gender-based this violence, some people are they feel so ashamed. Maybe they have been beaten blue black the way you look, and sometimes you are thinking that you don't want to drag the family name on the mud. So if or your culture too says you are a very controlling woman or a man, to us, I'll say Africans in particular, when you marry, you have married the whole family. That's how we see marriage. It's not between two people. Marriages, we are talking of your uncles, your aunts, your cousins, your nieces. Everybody is involved in that marriage. So you should be thinking, when you think about violence that they have, you start to think, but is it my children, the family name, and all those things. That's why some women die because of that. Yeah, I think we'll go detail with this as time unfolds.
Thank you. I hear a voice in the background. I don't know if everyone is hearing some voice in the background. But we'll go to the next question.
Maybe I needed to say something more.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much, Magdalene, because you mentioned something very important. But I'm just wondering, because some of these women who experience this gender-based violence or domestic violence, they undergo a lot of stigma. They don't want to speak it out.
Yes.
You mentioned that they need to speak about it. But how can they speak it out when they have all this stigma? Most of them were brought here in Norway by their spouses. And so they are locked inside the house. They have no access to the bank account. They cannot study the language. They cannot interact with other people. This is a great challenge. So I'm thinking these children, as you mentioned, these women should actually empower themselves by trying to get connected to other people, like other women. I have been in one group, Mando knows, and we've been moving around with a group of women, trying to create awareness, trying to empower each other, and trying to discuss issues of family. Because a woman can die in the house without knowing what should be done.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true.
I know of one case, I know some cases whereby a woman works day and night, works tirelessly, but then the husband has to control all the money, take the bank key, and transfers everything that the woman has earned. So this woman cannot even be able to buy maybe a kebab or something, or maybe a bruise, sonda or something.
Remember,
they cannot do anything.
Remember the types of violence which I was naming. Denial of resources. Denial of resources and opportunities. Or services. Those things, they cause that psychological trauma. So you deny resources. I'm the one working the money, or even if you are the one working the money, but then you make sure I have limited resources or no. I buy things and bring to you at home. What do you want?
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say also that besides getting self-empowered, these women can, I'm just suggesting that they can talk to a neighbor. For example, a neighbor could be maybe a Norwegian or an immigrant, I don't know. They can talk to them, and these people can empower them. They can give them knowledge on where to report. For example, we have crisis center. And of course, we have like the helpline, whereby one can dial, for example, 112 or 002-800. One can also call for support center for crime.
800.
Yeah. There is 02800.
800.
Yes, and there is another one, 112. If they are always
112.
closed in the house, 112, they can also
112.
call
Take notes,
02
please.
800. I hope they are taking notes. So they can also ask for this support center for crime victims, and you can call this number 800. If it's 800-40008. It's actually
also,
800. It's
I'll also add on those numbers on this video later, but just say them, but I'll add them on the video clips. So,
you can add them. So also, I'm thinking they need to get help anyway. But of course, we have good neighbors. I love the Norwegians because they are very keen. Sometimes you have a very good Norwegian neighbor, and they are like, they haven't seen you for some time. They knock and, okay, I haven't been seeing you. What has been happening? And if they hear a noise, they will report and they will call the police. And in case of Banavan, there are all these things. But it's really, really, really hard and tough, especially for this kind of people to get help, whereby they lock themselves there, and it's like they are experiencing a lot of stigma, and they don't want to report these cases because they don't want to destroy the relationship. I don't know, maybe they will be deported back to their countries, so they have to hang around. These cultures that we have from our countries, actually, they destroy us so much. And that's why you see most of the women, they will still be in an abusive relationship anyway, because they consider many other things. A woman is married to the whole clan, it's not like the way it is here. As she mentioned, actually. So those are the challenges, and I hope with time, maybe we the immigrants will have to learn. Although one person mentioned about culture, we said that people say that culture is dynamic. It changes with time, but then some cultures are so rigid. You cannot change them.
So rigid.
They are like, you cannot just change them. So we hope anyway this will work for the best for us, the immigrants.
Thank you. But I know you've answered the question actually that I was asking you. But now you've mentioned all those lines. What can a child do or a youth do in case of violence at home? And I'm very specific about this. I'm not only talking about violence against women. There's also violence against men, and that is crisis. Crisis center comes in because. And especially this happens why I brought it in an immigrant perspective. When someone has brought you abroad, sometimes you turn to be their slaves, whether you're a man or a woman. And the crisis centers, initially it was formed for only women, but the last seminar we had, actually just before Corona, we were perplexed when this lady said, you know what, men are nowadays running to crisis center like no one's business. You understand? It's happening, and it's like, and with a lot of stigma and everything, a lot of them, they're still hiding everything. But then a number of them are now coming out. What can someone do at Susan, a kid or a youth, if such a thing happens, and you're afraid with this, our culture, you don't want to expose your parents, because your parent is like, are you gonna wreck our marriage as a child? What can a child do?
I don't know in this case what you mean. For example, is it a parent to report or something? In this case, if it's my child, my boy who is experiencing this, from where? Maybe I can report if I'm the mother, and the violence it's outside, maybe from a colleague, maybe a child is getting bullied from school or something. But if it is inside the house, it's really hard for one of us, maybe my husband or I, to report. Because of the consequences. We know all these things about the Banavan and the cultures that are attached to it, of course. So I'm like, I don't know what really we can do in case of a child. But
a child violating the parents or
that's what I don't understand.
The other way around.
Either way, because what I was also shocked is like, teenagers can really frustrate their parents, and especially if the parent is not speaking the language. A lot of cases are happening. If you don't speak the language and you make your child to be your interpreter in the house, you're in trouble. The interpreter
let me mention this actually. Thank you so much for bringing this topic. For teenagers, for the children that are grown up, because I have teenagers. I have almost like adolescent. My eldest son is 20. Oh, my dear, I want to promise you, honestly, I don't think I'll call Banavan in this case. Because I know about Banavan. They'll take away all my children. And then it will be like, I'll never see them again until they are, I think, adults or something. So it's, I'll try to talk to the children anyway. You know, they are my kids. We have all this kind of culture with us, the African culture. And we sit down with our kids and try to talk to them, because if you bring the aspect of maybe the institution like the Banavan, there are other consequences. That is according to my view. But if a child, if it's a very small child, and for example, if I'm living with an ex, no, not an ex, sorry, a boyfriend, Sharet, a person who is, a person who is not, for example, I'm putting this in another context, not my context. If I'm living with my own children, and then girls, and I'm living also with a man that is my boyfriend in that case, and if I realize that he violates one of my children by either battering my boys, beating them, or maybe having some sexual assault with my girl or something, definitely I'll have to report. I'll have to call the numbers. I have to call the police, and for help. Yeah, honestly.
Thank you so much. Time is running, and the major thing was COVID-19 and gender-based violence. You know, I want us just to do something and talk about it. I'm bringing also this gender-based COVID-19 in the picture, because right now, like, and I think, I don't know, you guys who work with women, you've been coming across. For me, I think we've been coming across some of these things, whereby there's a lot of, some of these cases, you know, at home right now, it could be due to financial issues, or it could be just, you know, like, you've been home so much, you know, and there's a lot that is happening that you two cannot balance the equation anymore, you know, and could be making the issues of gender-based violence and, you know, to be really on its taste. How is it happening with COVID-19 and gender-based violence? I know we don't have so much statistic everywhere else, like especially where I come from in Kenya, it's really bad, you know, where you see parents are killing their kids because they can't afford to them, or a father just becomes violent at home, or a mother just becomes, you know, irresponsible, you know. Out of frustration. Actually, mostly it's out of frustration, depression is there, and everything. What is your say? We start with the Magdalene and go to Susan. Just short.
What I want to say is with gender-based violence and COVID-19, there has been an increase. Just like we are going back with what we said, that people hide it. But then there will still be an explosion, because even if you hide it, it will burst out. Because for how long? Especially when the space is so tight. You know, most of us, we have to stay at home. We are seeing the same people every time. The same this thing. There are certain things which you could have avoided if you went to work or you were out. In order to, you know, you give somebody a space. But now there is depression. Maybe you are talking, nobody is listening to you. You give instruction, nobody listens, because they themselves are frustrated with the whole thing. So with COVID-19 and gender-based violence, it has been on the hike because of stay at home, and then always seeing the same people, and then it may be not enough money as it used to be. Economy now comes in, and depression to some people. To some people again, even if they are alone, the depression increases. So there's this they start to attack people. They start to attack people that they were supposed to see them or care for them, but because you are not there, something which if they themselves they were busy, even though you are alone,
Yeah.
you would not have said that the person is not creating attention to you. I think that is
Yeah.
the contribution I can give because of time.
Yeah, Susan.
COVID-19.
Yeah, actually, yeah, Magdalene has mentioned a lot actually. Basically, that is what is happening actually since the breakdown of the coronavirus, the COVID-19. It has
Yeah.
really affected people a lot, and actually, the domestic violence and this gender-based violence has gone up. I know of some people, some friends that have been experiencing a lot, because actually there are many responsibilities. The children are all home. This time when the kids, the Banahage were closed and also the Bana school, so everyone was home, and then the responsibilities were like, it's only the woman who is taking care of the kids. And with the African mind, the man is like, oh no, I have to go out and meet some friends. So the woman is always there. Why don't we share this responsibility? And on the other hand, the man is like, I cannot just sit here throughout, nothing to do. A lot of stress. And as she said, the discussion is about the economy. Oh, what do we eat? When you are idle, you eat a lot. When you have a lot of stress, you also eat a lot. And where is this food that you need to eat? Anyway, you come in the house, you need to eat. You are always there. You need to make something, coffee. We Africans, we cannot make just coffee. You have to keep eating and eating. Many people have ended weight because you are eating and eating, doing this, drinking, what. At the end of the day, then the fridge is empty. And then it's quarreling. Oh, what's happening? Who ate this? Who took this? And if you have these children like the teenagers also eat. What can you do? Are you going to kill your children? It's not easy. I'm telling you, so
the
it's all
violence has
crisis. You're
increased.
quarreling the children, you're quarreling the husband, you're quarreling the wife, you are eating a lot, look at the stomach. What are all this? You get so fed up, and it's a lot of breakups in marriages and relationships. It's not easy. It's not easy.
Wow. Thank you guys for the contribution. And I think like one thing I'm also realizing, like this is the time that communication also becomes handy, because it's so easy. You're home the whole day, communication becomes an issue because you can even repeat one thing 10 times and no one seems to be getting it, because you're just in a circle like this, so it's both with the kids, with the spouses, and every other person that is in your space, so it's very important to keep the communication going, and especially with people who are still struggling with integration, language, and everything. It even makes life a bit difficult, And the other thing, probably you've lost your job, you've stopped going for the classes, because in summer most of the schools are closed, and with the COVID-19 it closed long time ago. So there's a lot that is running around that. Yes, if you need help, else I would say everywhere, every time there's a church. If you're a Christian, run to your church. If you're a Muslim, run. But run for some help. Don't die alone. Guys, time has gone. 1 minute, Mado, can you give us a close, and then Susan give us a closing remark?
What I would like to conclude to our audience, and even us, because us talking like this, it is also educating us. I would say women in particular, because they are the vulnerable group. Educate yourself. Get involved to talk to somebody, at least, because sometimes people fear not to talk to someone because of trust. But then when it is getting worse, that it affects even your own life, you can talk to somebody. First, it releases the strain of depression in you, and it makes you lighter. I think talk first. You talk to somebody. Secondly, as I said, you have a social media platform or a seminar or workshop, like Susan talked about. They have power, and which is an organization fighting women and their rights. And then I think that is what I can contribute for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
I also want to say briefly that we've mentioned that gender-based violence mostly affect women and girls. But in this case, I want to say men should not die there. They should not die in the house. They need to seek help also. Men need to come out of their cocoons, because in this country, this is not where they talk. They are like most of our men with the migrants. They are quiet because in this kind of setting, we know that women are more empowered in this Norway, especially. And there's a lot of protection and a voice for the girls and women. So men are just left there, and they may be experiencing violence also. So I would challenge the men also to seek some help from maybe the professionals, and maybe call the crisis center, try to interact with others, and try to get more information on where to report to on what to do in cases of things like that, and actually discuss, just not be in the house without getting some information.
Because some people want to be a man. No.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. We need to empower men also. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, guys. And I would also say, it's a real issue, and we know, with the COVID-19, as I said before, I know Power is experiencing this. At our place, we are actually soon going to work on a program for mental health support. A lot. We work with human beings, and especially immigrants in our organization, and a lot of cases has come our way, and we just discussed it and realized it's time to give some mental health support. So we will be organizing some seminars to give such support. We need them, and I would encourage everyone to take contact with us. If there's anything, we are always there in the house from Monday to Friday to give those help, to give those support. So just feel free. And I'd say thank you, Susan, for turning up to give this boost to this discussion. And thank you, Magdalena, as always, standing by and giving the best from your heart. Thank you, guys, and have a nice evening. To our viewers, thank you as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.